Hey, this is part 2 of what I colored in the month of July 2025. Part 1 was my previous video. These were done in the latter half of the month. And I'll start with one from Pirates from Alina Lazareva. And this was done on grayscale with Goldfaber and Jane Davenport pencils. And I think a little bit of yeah, you know, powdery pastels. Yeah. I always draw a blank when I'm trying to remember something. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of grayscale. It always ends up looking a bit muddy to me at the end. And my previous works in this were done, I copied on cardstock and used watercolor as a base. But for some reason, this time when I tried to print this out, it came out full of lines. So I said, well, I'll just color it in the book. That's the first one. This is the second one. This was done with Magic Fly pencils. And the water and the sky were done with pastels. I think it came out pretty good despite it being on grayscale. But I think I prefer just regular line art. Next, I did one in Fashion Dresses by Angel Adherents. This is copied on cardstock. I used, let's see, oh yeah, Sevo Vivid pencils for this. And for the background, I used a stencil with metallic markers. I did one in the official Britney Spears coloring book. Let's see if I can find, yeah, the illustrators, Valentin, Ramon, and Kim Taylor. Oh, I gotta get you on camera here. There we go. I'm looking at the camera lens through a different angle, and it's hard to tell what is exactly going on. This is a simple page. The background I did with watercolor that contains micro powder. And I also use, let's see, I wrote down here, Cezanne watercolor pencils. I'm not a huge fan of those, by the way. I wouldn't recommend them. The regular Cezanne pencils are fine, but the watercolor pencils are lackluster. What else? Yeah. Dollar and Rowney micro powder with that's the Dollar and Rowney was the watercolor with the micro powder in it, and Pelikan pencils. That's what I used for this one. This one was part of a PDF download from Shinthaka Harath in August Revelry. And I used Master's Touch gouache, Crayola markers for the skin, Apple Barrel acrylic, and Posca. What I did was, because this was printed out on an inkjet printer, after I let the ink dry for a while, I sprayed it with a sealant. I want to say, a workable fixative. That's what I used. I found going over the top of that fixative with the Crayola markers, it caused the paper to do a lot of pilling. So I wouldn't recommend the watercolor was fine, but the water markers, that it can make it pill and crumble. So I wouldn't recommend using those on top of workable fixative. But that's why there's a lot of different colored spots on the skin. It was from the pilling that occurred. And I did one in Blissful Scenes from Color It. And I used Prismacolor Scholar pencils and Lucas watercolor. That's what I use for art supplies on this. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It didn't take long. I think I finished this in an afternoon. Just, you know, when you use watercolor as a base and go over it with pencil, it goes a lot faster. And it was fun. I enjoyed doing this one. I'm also currently working on a color by number. I'll show it to you, what I've done so far. This is from Winnie's Picks, and this is a rendition of The Soul of the Rose by John William Waterhouse, who is one of my absolute favorite painters of all time. I suggest you check out my playlist on famous painters, and you'll find a compilation of his on there. And this is what I've done so far. Just the topper corner. If you take your time and go slow, you get better results than if you tried to hurry. This is going to take a while, probably a few weeks at least. But yeah, that's what I'm currently working on, and I'll give you an update in a couple weeks on how this is going. In the meantime, talk to you later.